Good evening. Good evening and welcome back to the channel, and welcome to a beer review with a bit of a different tempo. Over the last few weeks I've been reviewing a lot of deep, dark, rich, festive beers, as it is indeed on the lead up to Christmas, and to be honest, I find trying to review those types of beer with the same energy, the same intensity as you would with a fresh lager in the middle of summer, well, to be honest, a bit ridiculous because, well, those fresh summer beers are for that kind of intense party summer time, whereas the Imperial Stout is a more considered beer, a more kick it back, relax, and just enjoy that moment in time. Now, as a result, I'm going to see how this goes. This may never see the light of day, and to be honest, I'm hoping that this whole video won't have any, or certainly not many, cuts in it. I will inevitably say the wrong thing at some point, but we're just going to accept it and roll forward. So please grab yourself a beer, relax, sit down, and just enjoy this, even if you're not drinking the same beer with me, while we appreciate all the good things about dark winter nights and Imperial Stouts. So, what do I need to do first? Well, firstly, I do indeed need to adjust my seating position. Normally I would have cut that, but unfortunately, as is the way with what I'm trying to do, that has not happened. So, what is this beer and where's it from? Well, it is from Black Isle Brewery, undeniably one of my favourite Scottish breweries. I've talked about them an awful lot on this channel in the past. They are based on the Black Isle, just outside of Inverness, and this is one of their brand new Imperial Stouts. This one, as you can see from the front of the can, has no real naming convention on it, but as you can see there are lots of pictures of, well, pies and stars and all sorts of interesting things. The detail for this, though, is on the back. It's called Apparent Magnitude, an Organic Pastry Stout. Now, I have had this beer before, I know what it tastes like, so it's not really a surprise. I can read into it because I know what's going to happen, but the description is: the apparent magnitude of our star, I've messed up already, the apparent magnitude of a star is how bright it appears from Earth. What you have in your hands is a colossal pastry stout full of rich dark malts, lactose and cacao nibs. There's enough energy in this can to light up the galaxy for millennia. It says 26% astronomically relevant, 100% organic. The astronomically relevant part I think is a joke, but the 100% organic certainly is not, because Black Isle Brewery do specialise in, well, doing everything as 100% organic. There's even a farm at their brewery, and my phone just buzzed, which is something I'm going to now rectify and mute, because, well, that's just going to happen again and again if I don't. So, back to the beer. That probably is enough really for you to be getting on with. Here is another quick look at the can. It is a very nice looking thing indeed. They have released this in two different guises. There is this one, which is the regular, this is Apparent Magnitude, and then they've done another one called Absolute Magnitude, which is basically this beer but conditioned in rum barrels. I have also tried that one, and I do have a bottle of it. Unfortunately though, well, it's a rather large bottle, and I think I may just save that as a Christmas Day thing to share with a family member or two, but hopefully you'll get all the ideas you need from this one. For this I will be using a Black Isle glass. This is one of their kind of drink in nature range with all the nice flower field kind of setting on it, and you see their logo in green in the middle there. This is a smaller tumbler style glass, so the whole thing won't fit, but let's get into it, shall we? In the glass then, this beer, if I hold it up to the small amount of light I've got in this room today for this calmer, more elongated atmosphere, it is all but a jet black beer. There might be the tiniest bit of light glimmering through at the bottom there. For reference, this is 9.7%, so it's a proper MP, and well, as a result, the head really isn't hanging around all that much. It's got a now half finger, I'd call it cream coloured head, to be honest. It's definitely not off-white, it's a bit darker than that. But yeah, you can't see anything through it. Solid looking stout. So, time for the aromas. What this beer does deliver on the aroma is an instant, well, it's a throwback. It's got a bit of nostalgia in there. It's deep, it's rich, it's distinctly not an adjunct filled milkshake of a thing. It's definitely, I'm almost certain it's going to be pretty much just malt, hops and yeast, to be honest. It's really got a nice, rich, slightly smoky, slightly peated, hints possibly of Scotch whisky in there, and I would suspect something like oats or something of that vein as well for that kind of pastry sour element. It's definitely got pastry stout element, and despite all the big, brash, almost traditional imperial stout notes that are going on, there's a bit of a subtle, deep, think kind of bonfire toffee sweetness that just underruns everything. It's not prominent, but it is definitely there. Right then, let's get into it. Cheers. Merry Christmas. Now, I did say I had already tried this beer, and there's a reason I'm reviewing it, and that's because this beer, quite frankly, is a great example of why adjuncts aren't always the answer. Because it is big. I wouldn't say it was brash though. It's intense in part, but it's also very well balanced. It's not too bitter, it's not too boozy, it's not too sweet. It's an amped up, beautiful example of, well, excellent balance. Weirdly, that is almost a bit of a contradiction, but hints of vanilla, toffee, fudge, bonfire toffee like sweetness, but again, really dialed back, deep, low, underlying, and there is no mistaking that this is an imperial stout. It is boozy, it's got a nice big alcohol lick to it, but again, it's not too intense, it's not shocking, it's not overwhelming, it's just a lovely, robust, semi-sweet winter hug with a load of warmth to back it up. It's truly something quite special. Let me just top this up because, as I said, this can doesn't actually fit in this glass. Now we've got all the goodness in there. And as a result, I think it's time for a quick top to bottom taste test. So initially, a little bit of sweetness, quite mineral forward, especially as a lot of Northern England and Scottish beers are. You can just tell from the water profile, it's packed full of goodness. The carbonation on this beer is arguably a bit intense for the style, but actually for some reason in this it works. I think it maybe helps dial back a few of the kind of more intense notes and makes everything a little bit more lighter, a little bit more playful. Excuse me. The second phase really is where you start to get a lot of that well, pastry element. It's slightly buttery, slightly rich, slightly sweet, kind of, I don't know, pecan pie maybe. It's got that distinct short crust pudding flavour, but it's not overly sweet. It's like I say, the reason I said pecan pie is because it's got a bit of, it's not quite savoury, but it just doesn't let you go too much into the more overly sugared area. It keeps it balanced, I think is the key word. And mid-phase, you start to get very, well, traditional beer at that point. It's bitter, roasty, proper stout, and to be honest, if they brewed this at 5-6%, the stout element would be incredible. And it is in this. Just the stout, the core stout itself, I mean, is absolutely spot on. On the swallow, you get a bit of spritzing from that carbonation, and to be honest, my mouth has become quite used to it now, but at that point, that big fuzzy alcohol warm hug comes in at the end, and you're left with aftertastes that are pretty much across the board. A bit of roastiness, a bit of light coffee, a bit of sweetness, a bit of vanilla, a bit of pastry, a bit of deep dark chocolate. It's in the aftertaste that cacao nib really kicks in. But I think that also adds a bit of bitterness to it as well, which works. That's absolute wonders. I mean, I can't rate this highly enough. If you want a proper, no-nonsense, no-adjunct beer, then this is an absolutely sublime example. Sublime example. What I will do though is check that I'm telling you the right thing, because I haven't actually looked at the ingredients yet. So let's take a quick look to make sure this is definitely an adjunct-free beer within relative terms. Okay, so the ingredients are water, malted barley, lactose, which I think we probably expected, cacao nib, which they already kind of told us about. There is vanilla in here, yeast and hops, but in their defence, cacao nibs and vanilla, yes, are adjunct, but they're also organic, natural products. This is not artificially flavoured. It's not, you know, these are raw materials still. So, is it an adjunct beer? On a technical level, yes, but in a kind of spirit of the regulations, if that's kind of want of a better term, actually, I think we can consider this an honorary member of the No Adjunct Club, even if it's not quite truthful. So yeah, I mean, this is 9.7. The rum aged version is even stronger than this, but is only available in the big share of bottles. So doing a review on that, if I know I'm not going to be able to drink it all in one night, is I don't want to waste it, frankly. But yeah, that is absolutely stunning. And to be honest, I think that is all I've got to say about it. So, as always, thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like it. If you haven't already, subscribe if you would be so kind. And of course, I managed to mess up right at the end there. And I'll catch you next time. Cheers.